Germans were discovering that their enemies still had a lot of fight left in them, and while the Russians were holding out against Hitler, Winston Churchill was plotting the next phase of the war against him. In the corridors of power, the British Prime Minister's words rang loud in the ears of his military strategists. "The Navy can lose us the war," he said, "but only the RAF can win it. Our supreme effort must be to gain overwhelming mastery of the air. The fighters are our salvation, but the bombers alone provide the means of victory." On Valentine's Day 1942, Bomber Command issued Directive No. 22, which ended the recent period of aircraft conservation by the RAF, although attacks were still not to be pressed in the face of bad weather or extreme hazard. With the new Lancaster bomber entering service and equipped with a new navigation device called GEE, Bomber Command hoped that locating targets would be made much easier. 9 days later, one of the most influential figures of the Second World War took up his new command. Air Marshal Arthur Bomber Harris was appointed Commander-in-Chief of Bomber Command. Harris had a reputation of being a determined and forceful character. Harris was totally convinced that the bombing of Germany could bring the Nazis to their knees and strike a decisive blow towards winning the war. In early March, his bombers hit the Nazi-held Renault plant in the Paris suburb of Billancourt. Serious damage was done to the production facilities, although many French workers were killed. However, this successful raid was a much-needed morale boost for the bomber crews. On this same night, the Lancaster bomber made its operational debut, laying mines off the French port of Brest. Of the 235 RAF planes that took off, only one failed to return. 5 days later, the RAF made a raid on Essen, home of a Krupp's factory. Krupp's produced submarines, tanks, artillery, naval guns, munitions, and other armaments for the German military. Though the results were disappointing, the bombers returned again and again. Not only was the factory a target, but under the new directive, so was the city. It was a prelude of what was to come. Under the new tactical doctrine of area saturation bombing, the RAF launched 234 planes and a massive incendiary attack against Lübeck on the Baltic. It devastated the old city. Hitler was so incensed, he ordered the Luftwaffe to bomb historic British towns and cities in retaliation. But Harris did not waver from the belief in his plan. By the end of May, 900 bombers would be dispatched to lay waste to Cologne.